The coffee cup slipped from her hand, and within seconds, my perfectly prepared presentation, my white shirt, and the confidence I had built for months were completely ruined. But the most shocking part wasn't the hot coffee burning through my clothes. It was the person standing in front of me, the one person I never expected to care. My biggest rival at work, the woman who had spent years trying to beat me in every meeting, every project, and every promotion, looked into my eyes and whispered, "Let me make it up to you tonight." I had no idea that one spilled coffee would uncover the pain we were both hiding. Before we begin, if you believe people can change, mistakes deserve forgiveness, and kindness can create second chances, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in compassion, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories like this. My name is Daniel, and for the last 5 years, my life had been a constant race. Every morning, I walked into the same glass building with the same determination. I wasn't the smartest person in the office, and I wasn't the most naturally talented, but I was someone who never gave up. I came from a small family where nothing was handed to me. My father worked 2 jobs just to keep our home running, and my mother always reminded me that success wasn't about being better than everyone else. It was about becoming someone you could respect when you looked in the mirror. That belief carried me through everything. But at my company, respect was hard to earn. Everyone was competing. Everyone wanted the next promotion, the next bonus, the next chance to prove they belonged. And nobody competed harder against me than Olivia. From the moment she joined our department, we were always compared. She was brilliant, confident, and impossible to ignore. She could walk into a room and make everyone listen. Her ideas were creative, her presentations were flawless, and she had a way of making even the toughest clients believe in her vision. I admired her skills. But I hated how much I felt like I was always standing in her shadow. The strange thing was, Olivia seemed to feel the same way about me. Every project became a competition. If I worked late, she stayed later. If I brought a new idea, she somehow found a way to improve it. If my manager praised my work, she would quietly present something even better the next day. We weren't enemies in the way movies show enemies. We never screamed at each other or tried to destroy each other. It was much worse. We smiled politely while secretly trying to prove we were better. For years, we carried that silent rivalry. Then came the biggest project of our careers. The company was preparing a presentation that could decide our future. The winning team would lead a major international campaign, and the person who impressed the executives most would likely become the next department leader. Everyone knew what was at stake. And everyone knew it would come down to me and Olivia. I spent weeks preparing. I barely slept. I checked every detail 100 times. This wasn't just about a promotion anymore. It was about proving that all the sacrifices had been worth it. The morning of the final presentation, I arrived early. The office was quiet, the city outside the windows was still waking up, and I felt like I was finally ready. Then Olivia walked in. She looked tired. Not normal tired. The kind of tired that comes from carrying something heavy inside. But I ignored it. I was too focused on winning. She walked toward the coffee machine, and I turned back to my laptop to review my slides one final time. That was when everything changed. I heard a gasp. Then I felt it. Hot coffee spilled across my shirt and jacket. For a moment, the entire office went silent. I looked down at myself, then slowly looked up. Olivia was standing there holding the empty cup. Her face had lost all its confidence. She looked genuinely terrified. I expected an excuse. I expected her to blame me for standing too close. I expected the same cold attitude we always showed each other. But instead, she looked at the stain on my clothes and said softly, "I'm sorry." Those 2 words caught me off guard. Because Olivia never apologized. She immediately grabbed tissues and tried to help, but I stepped back. Not because I was angry. Because I didn't know how to handle seeing the person I considered my biggest opponent actually feeling guilty. She looked at me and quietly said, "Let me make it up to you tonight." I thought she was joking. I thought maybe it was another strange attempt to get ahead. So I simply said, "You don't have to." But she looked different. For the first time since I met her, she wasn't competing. She was just a person. She lowered her voice and said, "Please. Just let me explain." That night, I almost didn't go. Every part of me said it was a bad idea. Why would I meet my rival outside work? Why would I listen to someone who had spent years challenging me? But something about her expression that morning stayed in my mind. So I went. We met at a small cafe away from the busy streets. Not the expensive places where executives celebrated success, but a quiet little cafe with warm lights and old wooden tables. When I arrived, Olivia was already there. And she wasn't the Olivia everyone at work knew. She wasn't wearing her usual confident expression. She looked exhausted. She looked human. She apologized again. Then she told me something I never expected. She said she never hated me. She said she was actually afraid of me. I laughed because it sounded impossible. Me? The person afraid of her? But then she explained. When she joined the company, everyone compared her to me. People told her I was the person to beat. They said if she wanted to succeed, she had to prove she was better than Daniel. She said she started seeing me as the wall standing between her and everything she wanted. So she fought. Not because she wanted to hurt me. Because she thought losing meant she wasn't good enough. And suddenly, years of competition looked completely different. Two people trying to prove themselves had accidentally become each other's biggest source of pressure. Then she told me the part that changed everything. Her mother was sick. She had been traveling back and forth between work and the hospital for months. She was exhausted, scared, and pretending everything was fine because she didn't want anyone at work to think she couldn't handle responsibility. The coffee spill wasn't just an accident. She had barely slept. She was overwhelmed. And she broke down. Right there in front of me. The person I thought had everything together admitted she had been struggling every single day. I didn't know what to say. Because I realized something painful. I had spent years judging someone I never truly knew. The next few weeks changed everything. Olivia and I didn't suddenly become best friends overnight. Real life doesn't work that way. But something shifted. We started talking instead of competing. We started sharing ideas instead of trying to outshine each other. And the strangest part was, our work became better. Together, we created something neither of us could have created alone. The final presentation arrived. The entire company watched as Olivia and I walked into the meeting room together. People looked surprised. They expected a battle. Instead, they saw teamwork. We presented every idea with confidence, supporting each other's points and showing that two different strengths could create something powerful. When the executives announced the results, they didn't choose just one person. They offered both of us leadership roles. They said the reason we stood out wasn't because we were competing. It was because we learned how to work together. After the meeting, Olivia smiled and said something I never forgot. She said, "I spent so much time trying to beat you that I never realized you were the person who could help me grow." Those words stayed with me. Because sometimes the people we fight against are fighting their own battles too. Sometimes the person who annoys us the most is carrying pain we never see. Months later, Olivia's mother recovered. Our rivalry became a friendship built on honesty instead of competition. And every once in a while, we would joke about that coffee spill. The moment that ruined my shirt ended up changing my life. Because if that coffee had never spilled, I might have spent years believing Olivia was my enemy. I might have missed the chance to know one of the most genuine people I ever met. Life has a strange way of bringing people together. sometimes through perfect moments, sometimes through accidents, and sometimes through a spilled cup of coffee. Before the story ends, I want to ask you something. If this story touched your heart, if you believe forgiveness and understanding can change relationships, please support this video by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind us about kindness and humanity. And before you leave, comment below, second chances matter, if you believe people deserve the opportunity to change and be understood. Because sometimes the person standing against you today might become the person standing beside you tomorrow.